906 Outdoors is brought to you in part by Orion Hunting Products. The UP is home to a wealth of great places, natural wonders, and unique people. It's also a land steeped in tradition. Traditions like hunting, and in many cases, hunting means going to camp.
Back then wasn't as easy as we have it today. They all had smiles on it. Could have been the grappa and the Dago Red. I think they just enjoyed coming out in the great outdoors.
Sit back, put your feet up and the remote down, and stick around for the special edition of 906 Outdoors, UP Camp Stories.
Up here, we just turn back the clock, live life the way we want it to be.
9 million acres of forest, 1,700 miles of continuous shoreline, 4,300 lakes, 12,000 miles of streams, more than 300 waterfalls, 15 counties, 2 time zones, and 1 area code. Welcome to the Upper Peninsula. Welcome to 906 Outdoors. .906 Outdoors is brought to you by Cooking Wild Seasonings. Make it fresh, make it yours. In Iron County, a bit north of Crystal Falls, a group of guys gather around a fire after a day of rabbit hunting. In the distance, the sound of a lone beagle. The last dog and hunter still out trudging through the snow in hopes of one more rabbit, or maybe just a little more time in the woods. They are here not by chance, or for just a random day of rabbit hunting. They are here for an annual traditional hunt known as the 12th District Mafia Rabbit Hunt.
This has been taking place for, close to 100 years.
I'm not sure anyone really knows where that name came from, but it certainly dates back a long time.
The picture we showed you, my dad was in that, and that was in 1927-26. Sunday, some guys went to church and then they come up at their camp after church. My dad was one of them.
In 1927, Calvin Coolidge is president. The beginning of the Great Depression is still a couple of years away, and the country is in the middle of Prohibition. Charles Lindbergh makes the first solo non-stop transatlantic flight from New York City to Paris in the spirit of St. Louis. Carving of the sculptures at Mount Rushmore begins, and the Ford Motor Company unveils the Model A as its new automobile. This hunt has carried on since then. The tradition passed from father to son, grandfather to grandson. The names of some of the guys standing around this fire are the same names as those in that 1927 photograph.
We're used to a long base history here of generations. I'm a second generation of it from my father, and now my son is here with me, and quite a few of the others are sons that are related to the originals that have been coming out here. We started out this morning, we all got together and had breakfast at one of the local establishments, and we came up and we met at camp, had a coffee or two, and then we grouped and we ended up coming out with the dogs and letting them loose. That ended up, we hunted for around 3.5 hours.
So we're with a group from Crystal Falls. I've been doing this hunt annually since 2005, and we're bringing Morgan out. She's a 5-year-old, 13-inch. I got my grandson Christopher here with me, and he's going to be handling Morgan today. My son Cameron, and then got another gentleman from up by Amasa who's got a couple of young dogs. So we'll go out there and see what we can do. I think we got 15 guys in the woods, so we should get some rabbits, I hope. Conditions seem to be pretty good. Come on, Morgan. So basically what happens, they get out in the woods and they start just sniffing around trying to find a trail of a rabbit that's relatively fresh. Once they find one that seems fresh, they track on it until it gets to be more of a hot track. Once they get hot, they start squeaking, and the hotter they get, the more they start to bark. 2 of the dogs have gotten together, and they got a pretty good race going right now. They were right up here by the road where we're at, and they kind of hooked around and went making a circle back, but they'll be back here pretty soon, I'm pretty sure, so we'll be ready for them.
906 Outdoors is brought to you by Race Driven, your source for premier power sports products.
There it is. Oh. Another one that got away. The dog's in here, and that rabbit came from the other way going in by the dog. Whoops.
We were really successful this morning. We had a lot of rabbits on the dogs this morning, and then we went back and had a traditional lunch that we've always had for years. A little chopa, a little suppressa, a little fontanille cheese. We had a little Dago Red in our coffee. We had a good lunch and some more discussions, and it was a good morning hunt. And we came back here again, and we let the dogs loose. And we had some more success this afternoon.
Basically what we do is, in field trialing, we put the dog underneath a measuring device and we measure what we call the withers, which is basically just behind the shoulder blades on the top of their front shoulders. And we measure basically the height of the dog, and if they're over 13 inch, they're classified as a 15-inch dog. If they're 13 or under, then they're classified as a 13-inch dog.
Come on, hunt them up, come on. Come on, girl. Come on, girl.
It's kind of fun with that little 13-inch dog. She's probably only a little over 12 inches. And there's that big male over there. He's a 15-inch dog, and they got a pretty good race going. That little dog, she's got such short legs, and this snow is probably 1.5 to 2 feet deep up here in Amasa. So that little dog's got a lot of work to do to keep up to that big dog. It's kind of fun.
I forgot my shells. Jeff, he had some, there were some cheap shells, so I had to make sure he was right close. Carrying the mail, hip shot. He come out of the woods and I got him, yeah. I hit him in the rear end. I'm sorry, Rabbit, but I thanked him. And then the dog came and thanked the dog. We've got about, this is probably our largest group in many years that we've had here to come out and hunt.
That counts, I guess, eh?
That's pursuit.
Is that one on the board then, or no?
No.
It wasn't on a
I
dog.
didn't bring it back here.
Dog didn't have it. David's right there. We'll be going back to camp and having a great dinner of some prime rib, and there'll be some of the old timers back there today. There'll be a lot of conversation. We'll have fun with them, listening to their stories. Have a little more Dago Red, and maybe some Grappa along with that.
Is that made with Everclear? Oh, you got a gold? That's it, he's got a gold. Sure. What did we get last year?
We had an original picture of 1927 of our crew that started it back in the day, and you look at the way they dress with all of their clothes, and the story is that they were dressed up a lot when they were hunting because a lot of them cut out for church that day, and then they came back that evening.
Beachicos had it many years. He was a shoemaker in town for many years, and he would have that rabbit hunt way back in the 20s. He died many years ago, but then his son took it over. He kept the rabbit hunt going. They had to move their camp because the power company flooded that Way Dam. So got some land from the mining company, give them some land on Liver Lake.
That camp got moved from the original spot back to another area away from way down backwaters because they would, the Michigami backwaters, they flooded it. So that had to be an extraordinary day for them to try to move that camp. You can imagine the work that had to be involved for them to preserve that camp and take it and move it and put it back in the original spot. And
the family sold the property, and then they decided to come to this camp because the family sold that land.
So we've been keeping the history going, had different camps throughout the area. I think we're at our third camp. It's interesting history how they persevered back then. I mean, the roads weren't as well as they are today. You know, they didn't have it plowed. They had to plow or drag whatever they were going to do with probably horses and ancient machinery. But if you look at that picture closely, every one of them, their lives back then wasn't as easy as we have it today. And they all had smiles on their face. Could have been the grappa and the Dago Red, but I think they just enjoyed coming out in the great outdoors and enjoying what we have.
Today's show is brought to you in part by Rapid River Knife Works, home of Michigan's largest custom knife factory showroom.
We actually got a few rabbits today. We got 4 rabbits total. And some were not as fortunate in having as much luck as some of us, but we're going to decide who the winner was, and usually it was always the bragging rights for the year. We're going to play a little 5-card stud to see who the winner is because we got four rabbits and 4 people that shot them, so we're going to find out our winner that way. For the honor and the bragging rights and that cat hat. So here we go. 5 cards cat hat. The best. Flip them up. 5 cards. 5 cards. 5 card up. All right. 5 cards showing up. Cut them. We trust you.
All right, here we go. 5 cards to everybody. Best hand wins. Okay. Good luck to everyone.
Whoa! That's so, come on.
Oh, look at this.
That's good. That's all right. For the winner of the rabbit hunt, because they each got 1 rabbit. Wow, that's all.
Last card.
Here it
Oh. Ooh, nothing. There's 7.
That's it.
There's 7. We knew who the champion is.
Should have won anyway. So 1.5 rabbit.
Pin lady lived here till she died, and on this particular 40, and the county run the road in from the main road into her, and she had a big garden here, and she had a couple of, once in a while I run across barbed wire in the woods where she had a couple of cows. She had a horse and buggy. When her horse died, she couldn't afford a new horse. Going to town to shop, and Blackie Osterby he had a store in town, and him and his wife were very close to her. They'd always give her a ride back. She had 2 sons. One got killed in the Second World War, and they were both in there. But, somebody says the other one got killed too. I don't know. I know one got killed in the Second World War. A couple of 40s we bought from the timber company, and they logged it on all these rafters, what they left in the woods. Peeled them back and cut them in beautiful rafters. The popple walls, there was a lot of popple here, so we cut them in the winter and made boxes of the logs on the fire and turned them into, we wanted to peel those popple before the spring come out. They dry real slow. They don't pop so much. There's no pitch in them on that thing. 1,000 acres here between a camp crew. We got a pretty good area to hunt, but didn't see a lot of bucks this year. That one there with a skeleton in it, one of the guys wounded it and couldn't find it. We found it in the spring. Porky's chewed on the horns a little bit.
Anyway, I want to thank you all. Larry Beachico is here with us. I appreciate him coming. We've had it at his camp for so many years. Him and his father and his brother and their family put it on for us and carried it on way back to the beginning. I just want to bring up some of our past people, like Jack's father, who was just you know, if you've seen the clipboard going around, that's where it started back there. And you look at the rabbit hunt, he pounded it in and kept us going. He handed that off to me, and it was like a cherished prize that I have to keep up. And I have to find one of you slackers to keep that going, so I will. So, you know, what a great day. We've got a lot of our family and friends that have gone ahead of us to guide our way into that hunting ground. So we miss them all, and they're all in our hearts, and I can't sit here and name one because there's so many that we all will have in our hearts.
Let's remember all those who aren't here, and let's have a good time the rest of the night. Drive safely on the way home. Thanks for everybody for coming. Thanks for cooking. Thanks for organizing. And in Jesus' name, amen.
This all came back to our history of Crystal Falls was part of Crystal Falls Township, and it was built up of all the old mining companies, the railroad companies, all the local political people, businessmen of the community, and they would get together and have a good weekend of hunting, and they even did some fishing back then, but it's actually continued into the rabbit hunt. So it's still kind of like those 1927 days up here right now. Not a lot has changed, except the roads are a little bit better, but it's still a huge wilderness, and we really like to come out and enjoy it.
.906 Outdoors is brought to you in part by Christ, your Northwoods neighborhood store.
But you know, it's a lot of the history that we are continuing on, and we've got a lot of our younger generation that we're passing things off to. It's really ran smoothly. We just have a lot of fun, get out and show some of the younger ones how to hunt the rabbits. But it's challenging, especially today with the snow. Dogs were really able to pick up on their scent, so we had some fun with them. It looks like the rabbits are on an uprise here, so we're gonna have a few more years.
Just very thankful to be a part of something like this. Growing up here, you realize over time how much of a different area that it is. And to be a part of something like this that's been going on for over 100 years is really special to me. And I just can't thank the older, wiser people that live here for taking people like me under their wing and showing me things like this and letting me be a part of it. It's so important to me. There's such a rich culture of people here, and we were talking before about how in this area you really can't put your finger on what it is about living here, but you can just feel it. It's a very difficult place to live and make a living here, and to be a part of the culture and experience something with this much tradition that's been going on for so long. To me, it's what it's all about, and it just makes me feel just at home.
You know, and that's what gets me the most is how we look at our area and how we continue a lot of our annual events, and this is one of them that I look forward to. I know a lot of we look at deer season and fishing season, but you know, getting out here and you'll hear the conversation in the background of everyone's story and what happened to them today and how the dogs were reacting. And you were witness to some of those stories today, how we joke with each other, and that's what it's all about. We just come out and, you know, there's so many that came before us that we respect because they taught us how to respect the land, how to enjoy the land, and how to really enjoy each other and respect each other, and that's what we're all about, and we just enjoy being out.
Over time, you see all these people that have grown up here and how their personalities are. We're following in the footsteps of people that made it and were able to make a living here and live here and thrive here, and that's so important to me. And I can't thank everybody, the generations before me, my grandfather and the generations before him. I can't thank and appreciate those people. There's no words that I can put to it. It's just such a great feeling to be able to live here, and I wouldn't have my life any other way, period.
Feel free to join us on Facebook or visit us at 906outdoors.com. Thanks for watching, and we invite you to join us next week for another adventure right here on 906 Outdoors.